Well, back in the shop, have a supplemental or an addendum to the paint booth video that I did a week ago, or finished a week ago, I should say. And I made some improvements, some much needed improvements, mainly with the filtering system and the fan. So let's go over the changes from the Mark I to the Mark II version of the paint booth. So looking over here, the filter area I increased by a lot. That's 25 square feet of the green filters. And I made these frames. I bought these intake filters, paint booth intake filters from Amazon. They come in a box of 24 and they're 20 by 20. They have wire frames inside. So I made the frame out of 1x, put the frames in there, or put the filters in there rather, and then also on the corner where I was having some issues with the flow, I went ahead and trimmed that filter back and put in 2 more filter panels. They overlap a little bit in the middle, but that's okay. I have now 25 square feet of filter area. So that's a lot of potential there for flow. The other part is the fan. The fan was turning at 1725 RPM, which is supposed to, is what the motor says, and I got the rated CFM out of that, but it was too much. So what I did was I replaced the 3-inch pulley on the motor and replaced it with a 1.75 inch pulley. Now in the paint booth, or in the fan, I'm getting just over 1,000 RPM, so it reduced not quite by half but pretty close, and it is really nice. I put the door down, I had the filters on, turned the fan on, and I got a little stick, lit it on fire, and then I went ahead and blew it out and watched the smoke. And it was really nice because I held it in front of these filters here and it just drifted at a real steady rate right across, and then of course eventually it'll end up over here with the exhaust. So that was the main change that I did. The other one was I added these lights. You can see that they're 4-foot LED shop lights that I got on Amazonia, and I wanted some more lighting, and boy oh boy did I get more lighting. These things are great. They were cheap. They were about 60 bucks with shipping, and they're incredibly light. I got them up there with zip ties. So you can see also that there's some reflectors on the top. That's actually poster board. When the lights came in the box, there's no reflectors on them at all. And I thought there's got to be some way to put something up there just to save a little bit. You know, Benjamin Franklin, sorry, you know, lumen saved is a lumen earned. I went ahead and got some construction paper at my local Fred Meyer's or Kroger Aerospace Supply Center. And it's 14 by 22. And I taped them together, cut it in half lengthwise, and that's what I laid on top of the lights. And I tried one out when I put it up there, and I was on the ladder with one of the lights on, and I put the paper on, then I took the paper off, and it was just a tiny bit brighter. So I went ahead and did that. It was cheap. It was only $3 for the paper, so that was good. The other improvements I did with the paint booth is I went ahead and installed my fresh air hood hose, and that is over here, the air source outside of the booth, of course, and it's sitting over here in the corner, and that's from my local EAA chapter, so I was able to borrow that. And then here's the back side of the filter material. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and put the fuselage back in, and we're going to go ahead, I'll turn the lights on, then you can see everything to scale. Okay, I've got the fuselage back in the paint booth, and I turn on the lights, and here's what it looks like. You can see that adds a lot. Those lights are incredibly light. That weight, it's only 10.3 ounces per light. They weigh nothing. The wire that they plugs into them, I think that's weighs even more. But as a result, I was able to hang them with just some zip ties, and it worked out great. I wanted to do them lengthwise, but then I thought, well, shoot, if I put them on a diagonal, I can use the existing screw holes because they have little slots cut in there that I can use a zip tie and just zip tie through the slot. And this actually gives me a little bit more illumination on both sides. It kind of widens the pattern, if you will. So I went with that. So I'm really happy with that. So the last thing I wanted to show you was over here is my little paint mixing station as I meander my way around all the stuff that I get pushed around here. Oops. So here's my gun. It's a DeVilbiss Finish Line gun. It's kind of like a good amateur gun. I don't know if a professional would use it, but I'm going to use it. It was highly recommended when I took a Superflight seminar on the covering and painting process. I have the disposable cups, D-cups from DeVilbiss. Also my trim gun. I've had that before. It's the Anest Iwata trim gun, baby trim gun, and this one here I've used already, and it's fantastic. Got my paint mixer here, pneumatic, Diodos from United States of America. I did not want to get a Chinese copy of the real thing, so I busted out the dollars and supported our economy. And here's all the paints and all the stuff that I have ready to go. And of course my number 2 Zahn cup. All stuff from eBay. Of course the paints aren't, but it's all the Superflight stuff. So that's it. I like the addendum. Hope you like the videos. Actually, there's one other thing I wanted to point out. I really appreciate all the comments. Had a lot of friends give me some suggestions, and one of the suggestions was when I was taking out the center post here of the paint booth, you could really see the top of that sag down. Well, it's not going to stay open, put it that way. That support's always going to be in there. But a friend suggested that, well, why don't we just hang something from the ceiling and kind of help support that? I may still do that. I'm not sure. I have to climb up on a ladder way up there, get a screw eye and put it in there, support it, and see what's going on. Not really sure if that's going to happen or not. Probably will, but there won't be a video on it. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to my son, Eric. He helped tremendously when I was bouncing ideas off him. He works as an aerospace engineer for a very, very, very well-known company in Everett, Washington. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But I really appreciate all his input, because airflow in an aircraft cabin is almost a black art, science. So together we figured it out. Thanks, Eric. And you all have a good time on the video. Time to get painting. Adios.